35 years ago, we had a pastor here serve our congregation. And I know I've only been here a year and a half. And every Wednesday night, we have prayer meetings. His name is Mitch. I'd like to call on Reverend James Olson to give us a greeting.
Good afternoon. Everyone is back in America for about 3 weeks now, and people say, welcome home. We have to ask the question, where's home? After 35 years in another country, we maybe feel just as much at home there as here. And I only served this church for 1 year. It was after I graduated from seminary in 1951 to 52. After that, we went out and started on the difficult Japanese language in Seattle, and we went out to Japan in January 54, and now we have just come back, leaving Japan the 31st of May. When I first came here, I appreciate it more now than I did then. My elder boy. And it's very significant, I think, that being Father's Day today, that you should also choose this day as your celebration for your 90th anniversary. Much mention has been made of our forefathers, and the message this morning also mentioned many of these that have gone before. When I was here, the elder board was made up of Peter Fussness, John Flippen, and Elton Larson. 2 of these have gone home to glory, and the 3rd one is now in the throne home in Curtis Falls. Most of our 35 years in Japan has been in pioneer evangelism, and we don't go in where we have an elder board. We are the elder board, we're the building committee, we're the everything. And so you appreciate a lot more what you have had when you go into something different. Well, I just walked through the graveyard a little bit here at noon, and I remember before too when I was here, walking through the graveyard amongst the gravestones of the many pastors and other workers too that have served here and have gone on to glory. There's one name that stood out to me. Maybe you haven't thought much about it. I just saw it again today. It's the name of O.M. Anderson. He was born in 1864 and died August 8, 1923. He was a layman. I heard a story about him once from the evangelist that used to travel a lot through our area, the evangelist Oscar Knudsen. O.M. Anderson was a fearless preacher of the gospel. And he was having meetings in a little town, I don't know where it was, but after the service, one night, or I guess every night, he would stay after for the after meeting and deal with souls, and so he would walk home alone. And there were 2 men that didn't like his preaching, and so one night they decided to do away with him. I guess a lot of people would like to do that, but they don't have the nerve. And so they waited down by the weeds, by the railroad tracks, and he would walk by, they would shoot him. And so one night, when they were waiting for him, it got kind of late, and as he came along, there were 2 other men with him. And so they didn't dare to do anything that night. The next night, one of these men got under conviction and went to church. And he gave his heart to the Lord that night, and afterwards he confessed to O.M. Anderson, last night my buddy and I, my friend and I, were going to do away with you, but when you came along, there were 2 other men with you, so we didn't dare to. But O.M. Anderson said, no, I was alone last night too. So God had sent his angels to protect this man. I understand that he passed away later in a different fashion, but that was God's time for him. In the fall of 1959, when we came home on our first furlough after being in Japan for almost 6 years, We were about 4 days out of Yokohama on the President Cleveland. It was the 11th of October, and it was a Sunday. And the captain of the ship, knowing that we were missionaries, asked us to have a service on board the ship. And so we came into this little room, little chapel. It had a pulpit and had some seats. And it was towards the front of the ship, and that day it was a very stormy day. And so the room, the ship was pitched up and down and also back and forth. So sometimes I would be down here looking up at my audience, and sometimes I would be up here looking down at them. And so it was a very moving service. Kind of in the wrong sense of the word. After the service, there were only a few there. There were 2 young men, there were Mormons, and then a few other people, and a young mother and her 2 little girls stayed to talk to us afterwards. And she introduced herself as Mrs. Skinsness. She was coming home from Hong Kong, where they had worked in a hospital, and she went ahead while her husband stayed behind, as they had turned the hospital over to the Chinese. And so Dr. Skinson stayed behind a little while. Then we ran into one of these, little world things, Minnesota, and then where were you born, where you come from, Josephus, and oh yes, I served the church there too, and so on, so on. And so then it got around that she said she was a granddaughter of this William Anderson. And I talked to a few people here at noon, and of course some said, well, this was before my time, I can't remember. But I talked to someone that seemed to confirm what I am telling you. And so I thought, well, here's a good chance to ask her about this incident. And she said, yes, that's true. Grandfather often talked about this. And so when we think about that, we also think about the fact that God has had His angels round about you over these past 90 years. And it's our prayer that He will continue to do so in the future.